Welcome back to the deep dive. You know, we often scroll through our social media feeds, right?
Hmm.
Sharing life's moments, connecting with friends,
Yeah.
family, and it all feels so, well, seamless, so normal, almost like it's just part of life now. Harmless, you'd think.
Yeah, it feels that way.
But what if that very normal, everyday activity holds a kind of hidden danger, a silent one, exposing you, maybe your family, your kids, in ways you'd never even imagine?
It's a paradox, really. These platforms that are meant to connect us, they can sometimes inadvertently just lay everything bare for people with less than good intentions.
And that's exactly what we want to unpack today in this deep dive.
Yeah.
We're leaning on insights from a really seasoned global security expert. We're talking, what, over 20 years in anti-terrorism, risk analysis, executive protection.
That's right. A lot of field experience.
So our mission here isn't really to scare you, not at all. It's more about empowering you with awareness, giving you some actionable steps. Sound good?
Absolutely. Awareness is key.
Okay, let's start with something that might actually surprise you. When we think about security breaches, we usually jump to, like, complex hacking, right? Phishing emails, cracking
With the
passwords.
technical stuff. Yeah.
But what's really, honestly, quite astonishing is that for someone with malicious intent, your normal posts, just photos, stories, updates, that's like pure gold.
You've really hit on a crucial point there. The popular image of a hacker isn't always what we're dealing with here, because honestly, sophisticated tech attacks often not even necessary.
Right.
What's truly remarkable and maybe a bit chilling is how quickly sometimes, I mean, in less than half an hour, a criminal can build a pretty complete profile of a person.
Less than 30 minutes.
Yeah, just by observing, looking at what you publish publicly or even semi-publicly. No password cracking needed, no hacking into accounts.
Unnerving. So, okay, what specific bits of information are they actually pulling together from stuff we think is just, everyday posting?
Well, think of it like putting together a jigsaw puzzle. They use pieces that seem random on their own.
Mhm.
Your date of birth, for example, often pops up in birthday wishes from friends in the comments.
Okay, didn't think of that.
Then there are your frequent locations. Not just the name of your gym or your favorite coffee spot, but the consistency. When you go, how often, your kid's school, your workplace, even say the route you always take for your morning run.
So it's not just the what, but the when and the how often,
Yeah.
the routine.
Absolutely. Daily patterns become crystal clear, like always at the gym at 7 a.m., walking the dog every night at 8, maybe you're always out on Tuesday evenings, that sort of thing.
Okay.
Travel plans are a huge one. Posting off to Spain for a week is basically a live announcement saying my house is empty right now.
Right. Obvious when you put it like that.
Then there are financial clues. The brands you wear, the car you show off, the watch on your wrist. It all paints a picture of your purchasing power, your socioeconomic level. Family connections, too. Very valuable. Tagging your kids, your partner, parents, close friends. It helps them map out your entire social network. Who matters to you?
Wow.
And lastly, something surprisingly common, accidentally showing things like license plates in a photo, maybe part of a bill or ID, or even your email address visible on a document in the background. All these little bits gathered without needing a single password.
Okay, so they gather all this seemingly innocent public data. What's the next step? What can a criminal actually do with that kind of detailed profile? How does it turn into, real danger?
Right. This is where it shifts from just information gathering to concrete risk. With a precise profile, criminals can pull off some really frightening things, like virtual kidnapping.
Actual kidnappings. What's that?
It's where they use the information they have, like knowing where your child goes to school, to make a credible threat. They call you, saying something chilling like, "We know where your son studies," demanding money. They might not have actually taken anyone, but the threat feels terrifyingly real because the details are accurate.
That's awful.
It is. It also makes identity theft, banking fraud, or impersonation much, much easier. They can create fake profiles that look and sound like you to trick your contacts.
Right.
We also see targeted attacks, sometimes on families, sometimes employees of a specific company. And, as you'd guess, home invasions are a much higher risk, especially if they know you're away because you posted about your holiday.
And it's not just about money or physical stuff, is it?
Yeah.
The psychological side sounds like it could be just as bad, if not worse.
Precisely. It goes deep into psychological manipulation. That's a big worry with things like grooming or even human trafficking, especially targeting teenagers who tend to be, well, a bit more open online.
Yeah.
And the really insidious part of all this, the whole profile, the whole potential attack plan, it's built completely without your knowledge. using information you just put out there willingly, sharing your life.
Listening to this, it could sound a bit theoretical, like a worst-case scenario that probably won't happen.
I understand why you say that.
But what really drives it home for me is that this isn't just theory. We have this case study. It's anonymous, of course, but very real. And it just perfectly illustrates everything we've been talking about.
Okay.
It involved a 38-year-old female executive, Western Europe, mother of 2 kids. She had an open Instagram profile, maybe around 3,200 followers. A lot of people she didn't actually know personally.
Right. A fairly common situation.
Exactly. And she was just, living her life online, posting what felt like normal stuff to her.
Okay, so what kind of normal stuff are we talking about?
Well, her path into this sort of involuntary exposure started with things that seemed totally harmless. Daily stories from her gym workouts. Always at 6:30 a.m. Always the same place.
Routine established.
Yep. Photos of breakfast with her young son. Innocent enough, but his school uniform was visible. And sometimes you could even see the school's name, like on a sign or building in the background.
Ooh, okay. Specifics.
Then there was a public post about a romantic weekend getaway she was taking with her partner, which of course unintentionally broadcast that her family home would be empty that weekend.
Big signal there.
Yeah. She'd also post pictures of expensive gifts.
Yeah.
Birthday presents, maybe. Like luxury watches, designer bags, a new iPhone, often with the brand tags visible, showing how valuable they were.
Indicating high-value items in the home.
Exactly. And then, the clincher, perhaps. A family photo right in front of her house, all decorated for Christmas. The front of the house was very recognizable, and she tagged it, "Home Sweet Home, nudge tag family time." Looking back now, it all seems so obvious, but at the time, just sharing joy.
But for a certain type of criminal group, the kind specializing in, say, targeted robberies, express kidnappings, this wasn't just joy, it was an operational blueprint handed to them on a plate.
So they started watching her account.
They did. Began monitoring her closely. And what's truly astounding is how fast they worked. In less than 10 days.
10 days.
10 days. Using sophisticated pattern analysis, basically just connecting all those seemingly random dots about her habits, her places, her things, and even looking at photo metadata.
Metadata?
Hmm.
What's that exactly?
Good question. It's like hidden data embedded in your digital photos. It can show things like the exact location where the photo was taken, the time, sometimes even the type of phone used. Very revealing.
Wow, okay.
So, using all that, they built this incredibly detailed profile. They knew her exact routine, they'd pinpointed her house, knew her kid's school, knew her travel dates, when she'd be away, knew about the expensive items inside, understood her high socioeconomic level, and crucially, they noted the lack of any visible security, like cameras or alarms.
All without any hacking.
Zero hacking required, just observation and analysis of what she shared publicly.
And then the attack happened.
Then came the attack. The night she and her partner were away, just like she'd announced with her, spa weekend stories. The group made their move.
They knew the house was empty.
They knew. They got in through the back of the house, a weak spot they'd actually identified from an older photo she'd posted, maybe a garden party or something.
Unbelievable.
The robbery itself was incredibly quick, over in just 12 minutes.
12 minutes.
That's it. They took jewelry, cash, electronics, personal documents. The estimated value was over 100,000 euro 70.
Oh my God.
But as you can imagine, the financial loss was only part of the story. The psychological impact on her, the victim, was severe. Anxiety, insomnia. She even pulled her kids out of school
I
temporarily.
can only imagine.
And what makes it even more chilling, the group was never caught, never identified. They left no signs of forced entry, no forensic traces. They acted with what the report called surgical precision.
Surgical precision. That's
Yeah.
wow. And the really chilling thing about that story for me
Yeah.
is that she wasn't famous.
Yeah.
Right? Not a celebrity, just a normal executive.
Exactly.
It makes you think, well, who isn't a potential target then, if it's not about fame?
That's precisely the takeaway here. Exposure, not fame, is what makes you a target. If you're consistently putting yourself out there, you're essentially putting yourself on their map.
Right.
This case just powerfully shows you don't need to be famous. You just need to be, well, exposed, posting in real time. It's basically like giving strangers a live guided tour of your private life.
Yeah, an open invitation.
Criminals are actively using social media now as a primary intelligence tool. They're turning your public life into their operational plan. The victim here, she never dreamed She was essentially voluntarily handing over all this critical intel.
Hmm.
And look, this isn't some isolated freak incident. This was a real case, and variations of this happen, unfortunately, every single day in different forms, maybe less dramatic, maybe more, but the principle is the same.
Okay, we've definitely gone deep into the dangers here.
Yeah.
And it is sobering, but like we said at the start, the goal isn't to leave you feeling, paralyzed with anxiety.
No, absolutely not.
It's about making that shift to empowerment, to being more conscious, aware, and taking proactive steps. So let's talk practicalities. What concrete measures can people listening right now start doing immediately?
Absolutely. Let's get practical. The first and maybe the single most impactful step: post with delay.
Delay, meaning?
Meaning, don't share in real time. If you're on that amazing vacation, enjoy it. Take the photos, but post them after you get back home. That simple habit eliminates the immediate vulnerability of telling everyone you're not home.
Okay, that makes sense. Post-vacation glow, not mid-vacation risk.
Exactly. Second, be incredibly careful about sensitive documents or details in your photos. Never show license plates. Cover them up if you post a picture of your new car. Don't flash passports, ID cards, bank cards, even partial addresses on mail in the background. Be vigilant about what's visible.
And what about kids? That's a huge worry for parents. How do you share those proud moments without oversharing?
A critical point, definitely. Protect your children by avoiding tagging them with their full names. Be cautious about showing specific identifiers like school uniforms, the name of their school, or even recognizable spots where they always play. Share the joy, the moment, but be vague about the specifics, the where and the who exactly. Think sharing the feeling, not the coordinates.
Share the feeling, not the coordinates.
I like that.
Okay.
Also, vitally important, regularly check and adjust your privacy settings on all your social media accounts.
Ah, yes, the settings maze.
It can feel like one, but platforms update these settings all the time. What's private last month might have changed. So a quick review every few months makes a massive difference. Set things to friends only or stricter where possible.
It's like digital housekeeping, isn't it?
It really is a bit of maintenance. And beyond the settings, just be mindful about the details you share in your posts. Avoid specific routine information, exact times, precise locations, day-by-day breakdowns of your schedule. Instead of hitting the gym at 7 a.m. sharp, maybe just great morning workout. Vague is safer.
Got it. Keep it general.
And look, if you happen to be a public figure, or maybe your job puts you in the public eye more than most, it's seriously worth considering separate profiles. One public, very curated, and one strictly private. Or even getting professional help to manage your online presence safely.
That's good advice for certain professions.
Finally, and this one is really crucial, often overlooked, be mindful of your close circle, your friends, your family. Many security incidents actually start not with what you share, but what someone close to you shares about you.
Oh, like a friend tagging you at a restaurant.
Exactly.
Yeah.
A well-meaning friend tags you at a specific location, revealing where you are in real time. Or posts a picture of your kids with identifying details. It's worth having gentle conversations with your inner circle about mutual digital safety.
That's a really important point. It's not just about your own habits.
It's a shared responsibility, in a way. Look, in my, more than 2 decades now in global security work, being involved in countless rescues, evacuations, protecting families facing really critical threats, I can tell you this with absolute certainty.
Yeah.
The real threats we face today, they don't always arrive announced with flashing lights or dramatic hacks. Sometimes, maybe often, they're disguised, hidden in plain sight, disguised as innocent likes, stories, selfies.
That's a really powerful thought to end on. True security, then, in this digital age we're all navigating, it starts with something pretty simple, doesn't it? Just being truly deeply conscious of what you're actually sharing.
Consciousness is the first step.
If information is power, like they say, well, it can also be a profound threat. So the question for you listening right now is, how will you choose to use your information? And maybe more importantly, what steps will you take starting today to protect your own story? Something to think about next time your finger hovers over that post button.